All right, all you cooking enthusiasts out there, it's another episode of Leisure Cooking at Home with Barry. If you would, please remember to always subscribe to the channel, give us a like, comment if you will, and be sure to share with your family and friends. Let's go ahead and get started.
Hi, friends, and welcome back to another episode of Leisure Cooking at Home with Barry. Today, we're going to be doing a shrimp and grits recipe. The grits you may not be familiar with. Some of you probably are. Some of you may not be familiar with grits, but don't worry about that. We're going to have a little blurb within the video to tell you all about them. But the grits are going to be creamy and cheesy, but it's going to be topped with a shrimp sauce that's going to include sliced sausage, celery, onion, bell pepper, garlic, and even some bacon bits to put on top. So I think it's one that you're really gonna like. But before we get started, as I always like to do, remember to like the video and share it with your friends. And please leave a comment. As a matter of fact, I hope you'll comment and let me know where you're watching the video from, because I know not everyone is familiar with grits. So let me know where you're watching the video from, or you can leave a general comment as well. But let's go ahead and get started with our shrimp and grits recipe.
That's right. If you like savory seasonings with a seafood and sausage sauce that has just a little Cajun kick to it, then you're going to love this recipe. Nice creamy grits, nice creamy savory sauce that I think you're really going to like. Let's get started with prepping our bacon. Here I've pre-cut about 4 to 6 strips of bacon so that I could cook those pieces without having to worry about cutting them later. You can fry the whole strips and cut them up later. It's totally up to you. But basically you want to toss those until all the fat has rendered down and your pieces or strips, if you're using strips, have gotten to a crispy golden brown as you see here. From that point, just remove those from the pan and let those sit until we use them later. Now while your bacon's cooking, now's a good time to start seasoning your shrimp. I use some Old Bay to give that Cajun flavor. I also use some Italian seasonings as well. And finally, I used my very own Bee signature seasonings and barbecue rubs. I used the cherry wood smoked flavor. To get your bottles of Bee signature seasonings, just check out the link to my online store in the description below. Okay, now that we've added all our seasonings, you just want to take your time and massage those seasonings into the shrimp. And we're going to set those off to the side to cook a little later. Now let's return to the skillet in which we cooked our bacon. As you can see, I've poured off most of the residual grease, but I did leave a little in the skillet, along with any renderings that were left from the bacon. Now you want to just toss the shrimp and cook those for about 3 to 4 minutes, not much more than that. They won't be fully cooked, but they'll finish cooking in the final process. After you remove your shrimp, you want to saute your sausage. Once you remove your sausage, you want to start adding your vegetables. Notice that I didn't remove any of the sausage grease because all of that's going to add extra flavor to the dish. I used onions and scallions, 1 medium onion, about 4 or 5 scallions. Here I have 1 bell pepper cut and chopped up, and about 4 to 6 stalks of celery. You want to toss those until the onions become translucent and the vegetables cook down. I also used garlic, but I don't add the garlic until the last minute before the vegetables have fully cooked, because I don't want the garlic to burn while the other vegetables are being cooked. So lastly, I add my garlic and toss that in with the remaining vegetables to cook down as well. You want to take your time sauteing your vegetables. You don't want to leave them unattended too long, because they will start to burn at the bottom of the skillet if you aren't careful. Okay, now that your vegetables have cooked down, you want to add about 2 teaspoons of all-purpose flour. Once you've added your flour, you want to take your time and mix the flour in with your vegetables until the flour is all incorporated and coated on the vegetables. There shouldn't be any white flour left over, but if there is, just saute a little more. Here, I'm adding shrimp stock to the vegetables. I added about 2 cups, and I actually came behind that with about 2 cups of heavy whipping cream. Once you've added your shrimp stock and your heavy whipping cream, and by the way, if you don't have shrimp stock, you can also use chicken broth or vegetable broth. I wouldn't recommend beef broth, but use what you have. You want to start adding your sausage and your shrimp back into your sauce. Now you want to save a few pieces of your sausage and a few pieces of your shrimp as well, because we're going to use those as garnish once we start to plate our dish. So incorporate all those juices into your sauce and stir those in well. You'll find that the seasonings from the shrimp will start to incorporate in the sauce and help to season it as well. This is when you want to start tasting your dish, just so that you'll know you have the right flavorings based on everything that you've added and any other seasonings you want to add later. So now we're ready to start preparing our grits. So exactly what are grits? Well, grits are a type of porridge. They're made from dried ground corn, and it's usually boiled in water, milk, or heavy cream until tender, and is typically served as a savory side dish or as a main dish like our dish today. In the southern region of the United States, you'll usually find grits at breakfast, or a lot of times served with fried catfish or other fried seafood. So let's get our grits started. I'll be starting with more of the shrimp stock that I made myself. I'll show you that in another video, but use your box's directions as far as how much water you would normally use and halving that with your broth. And again, you can use chicken or vegetable broth and heavy cream. Once your broth and cream mixture comes to a boil, you want to add your grits. Here, I'm adding a little fast and using a spoon. What I would suggest is adding a little at a time and using a whisk to make sure that none of the grits start to clump. That way, you'll be sure to have a smooth, creamy texture to your grits. After that, I added about 2 to 3 tablespoons of butter. And if you find that your grits are a little thick, just add a little more broth to your grits to thin it up a little bit. Here, I'm also adding a 3 cheese combination to the grits and folding those in. Again, making sure that the grits maintain that smooth, creamy texture. So now we're ready to start plating our dish. We'll start with a bed of grits first. Then we'll top that with our sausage and shrimp sauce. Garnish that with the sausage and shrimp we saved. We'll top it with the bacon bits we cooked earlier and a few of the scallions to finish off our toppings. You can see how rich and creamy the grits are and how well they mix with the sausage and shrimp sauce. I also want to share an alternative serving suggestion for your sausage and shrimp mixture. We'll start that suggestion with a bed of noodles instead of the grits, and top that off with your shrimp and sausage mixture with a little cheese and garnish with a few scallions, and you're good to go. If you have bacon bits left, you can also top with the bacon bits as well.
Well, all right, friends, that's pretty much all there is to it. It's a really great dish. It came out very creamy, as you saw in the flyover, very rich in flavor. I can't say enough about it, and I hope yours turns out the same way. So now for that all-important taste test. Everything is mixed really well. I want to get a little bit of the shrimp as well as the sausage. This is really good. You guys have got to try this recipe, and I hope you do. And again, please let me know where you're watching the video from. But I'm going to take a few more bites of this. But before I go, I just want to thank you again for joining us for another episode of Leisure Cooking at Home with Barry. Don't forget to subscribe and like the channel. Share the channel with your family and friends and leave a comment. Let me know how things are going here. So thanks a lot, and we'll see you next time.